Hello, in this video we're going to be demonstrating the installation of Ricochet skid plates along with our hybrid 1/4 inch overlay. The first step is to remove all the factory plastic from the machine. You are going to leave these on the A-arms though, on the calipers here for the A-arms. Those do not get removed. Everything else will be removed. Usually we start from the top and work our way back. On this machine it's actually easier to start with the center one as the top plate has a slight overlap. So start with the center plate first. You'll take your plate, get it in position. Might take two people to hold it up, it's kind of heavy. Not too bad, but a little bit. Just get a bolt started, a cup washer, and that should be good. Then you go through and you can start installing the rest of everything. You're just starting it. It's going to take some adjustment to line up with the other plates and whatnot, so you don't want to get anything tight, so you can move it around for the best fit. Okay, now we have all those started. There's two mounts on the center plate that are a little different than the rest. It's this one here, and then there's one at the back. The top one uses the same cup washer, but there's a longer bolt and a spacer. That mount is recessed, so that's the location for that piece of hardware there. And then on the rear, it uses one of our clamps and a longer bolt. We have clamps used on various locations, the A-arms and the floorboards. There's a nut plate on the rear. Any of the hardware we supply where it has the lock nut welded to it, you want to put some anti-seize on that. It really wouldn't be a bad idea to anti-seize everything, to be honest with you, but especially these. It doesn't take much, just a little smear on the bolt thread. And to get this clamp in, it's easier to do it before you have this rear plate in. You can come in from the side, but it's a lot easier while this is still open. And you're just gonna bring it up in front of the tube and then slide it around. There's a sway bar there that's kind of in the way. You have to kind of go up and over the top of that. Once you get it around the tube, you can move the clamp back and forth, get it where it lines up with the slot, and go ahead and start that bolt. And again, we're just leaving everything hand tight for now. We'll go back and tighten it down later. Okay, now we're going to install the rear skid. And that takes 4 of these same cup washers that we've already done here. And then it's got some of our hardware in the back. So we'll start with the cup washers. Okay, now on the rear, it takes a couple of our nut plates and the bolts. I'm actually going to leave those out for now. They are they're also used on the plastic, so I'm going to leave those out for now. It's a common mount, but that's what the nut plate and then the bolt. You won't have the cup washer unless you're using the plastic. So like I say, I'm just going to leave that out for now. I just have to undo it later. So now we can move on to our top piece here. There's just 4 10mm bolts to hold that on. Get all those started. Again, we're just leaving everything loose. Okay, all right, everything looks like it's pretty lined up where I want it to sit, so now we can go ahead and start tightening things down. We're going to leave this top one loose here, so we can just tighten down our center plate. Okay, and then we still have this one bolt here that was on our clamp. So you'll need a different tool and then tighten that guy down too. Okay, now we can come back and look at our top piece here. There's also a common mount on the top piece on here for the plastic, so I'm gonna leave those out for now, because like I say, they just have to come out later anyways. So get this all lined up where you're happy with it, happy with the fit, and you can go ahead and tighten these. Okay, so that's on. There are 2 spots here that need to be drilled out, but we're gonna do that very last. If you're actually doing the plastic, you actually need to drill holes for clearance on these as well. And I haven't done that yet, so let's go ahead and just do that right now. And the easiest way to do these is just going to be, if you have a punch that fits pretty well in the center of that, you can just transfer punch it. That'll leave a witness mark of where you need to drill. For these holes here, you can actually drill them with the plate on. You'll just match drill and it'll be a nut and bolt. So now that we have those off or marked, let's go ahead and pull the front plate off and I can drill out those holes for the plastic. And the reason for drilling these holes out, there's just these nut inserts end up butting up against this and it'll pull the plastic off, or pull the plate away when you pull the plastic on. So they just need a little clearance. It's best to start off with a smaller drill bit, like an 1/8 inch or so. And again, this step is only necessary if you're installing our hybrid system with the 1/4 inch overlay. If you're just doing the bare aluminum skids, you don't need to drill these locations out. It'll just be the 2 holes up top. Okay, that's our pilot hole. Now we can go through and open it up. It's not real critical on the hole size. Probably want to go at least 5/16 up to a 1/2 inch. Like I say, it's just a clearance hole, so it's not a critical dimension on that. And you don't need to worry about punching through. There's really nothing behind this that you can hit or hurt, so. Okay, so that should give us plenty of clearance there. And we can go ahead and put the top piece back on. Get it lined up and centered and go ahead and tighten it down. Okay. Now we can go ahead and let's do a floorboard. Our floorboard skids mount via our clamps. So again, you'll want to put some anti-seize on that. And about the easiest way to do the clamp, we have holes so you can get in there and move them around to line them up, but some of you, it's easier to put them on first. So this one is going to go pretty much right next to this weldment on the frame right here. And probably the easiest way to figure out where the other ones go is to actually just take the floorboard skid and just put it into position and just kind of visually see where it needs to be. And again, you can slide them around. Now this, on the sides here, you kind of have to lift up the plastic a little bit and work it underneath the plastic. But that's actually kind of nice because they'll stay put. They won't move around on you. And then we're going to kind of do the same thing with the rear here. Just give yourself a general approximation of where it needs to be. Little anti-seize on the bolts. Once you get one started like that, it's actually best to come through. You can't really get this top one on without it falling down on you, but, you know, before the plate's up there. So you kind of have to get the plate into position. And to install this, you're actually going to come up through the hole, around the tube, and then line it up. Again, just finger tight for now, in case you need to move or adjust anything. Okay, now this clamp needs to come back. And that's what these holes are for, is to help adjust and get it into position. There we go. And we've got one more. Okay, once you have everything on, you want to pretty much just slide the floorboard back so it's butted up against the wheel well here. Get it into position, and we can go ahead and tighten that down now. The other floorboard is exactly the same, so for the sake of the video, just the length of it, I'm just going to do the one side. Like I say, it's a mirror image left and right, so exact same thing for the other side. So now I'll demonstrate the A-arms. And again, with our A-arms, you're actually going to leave these plastic guards on. Those do not come off. And the A-arms mount via our clamps, different size clamp, but the same thing. So you want to put anti-seize on everything. And you're going to get the A-arm into position. You're going to want to start with one of the front holes first. Get your bolt started, and then you can just let it hang. If you start one of the rears, it won't hang, it'll just fall off. So it's a little easier to start with the front and then get the rest of them going. Got one more, 4 clamps on these. Okay, at this point, before you tighten it down, you need to check your clearance. So you need to move the wheel all the way in. And you're checking for clearance on the plastic to the little kick out here, and then also clearance to the tire. So once you get that adjusted to where you like it, where it clears everything, you go ahead and tighten them down. Now before I tighten all 4 down, I'm just going to come back and double check my clearance again. Plenty of clearance that way. And we're good. So now we can go ahead and tighten the rest of them down. And again, it's the exact same thing left to right, so I'm just going to demonstrate the one. You'll do the exact same thing over there on the other side, just check the clearances and whatnot. So now I can demonstrate the rear A-arms. The rear A-arms mount pretty much the same using our clamps. It's a square clamp since it's square tubing on the rear of this, but pretty much the same deal. Now with these, it's kind of hard to tell which way they go. They are different. So if you go to put it on and it just does not fit, I mean, it should kind of just fit right into place. If it does not, you're probably mounting the opposite side. So try it the other way. And you just slide the clamps over, line it up with the hole, and get the bolt started. And again, you want to check for clearance. It's not as critical in the rear because the tires don't turn. So just make sure you're not hitting anything or whatnot. And if you're happy with the fitment, then you can go ahead and tighten it down. And again, the A-arms on the rear, it's the same left to right, so I'm just going to demonstrate it once. So that's essentially the installation. Now we do need to come through and drill these holes out for those. That's going to be a 5/16 to an 11/32 drill. It's got to be at least 5/16. I wouldn't go any more than 11/32, which is 344. That's what I already have chucked up. It is. Also, like I said in this installation, there's 2 bolts here that I've left out because they are a common mount with the plastic, but there's already holes there. You don't need to drill. It's just a long bolt with a washer and a nut on top. So that's pretty self-explanatory there. I'll demonstrate that on the plastic video. And I'm actually going to drill a smaller hole just for a pilot, makes the drilling a little easier. Now that it's located and centered, your smaller drill bit will just follow along. Or if you have a 5/16 or an 11/32 transfer punch, you could punch it and then do it like I did with the inserts. Okay. Once you get your holes drilled out, you're going to take your bolt with a washer and you're going to run that through. And you're going to put a washer on the back side followed by a nut. Do the same for both sides. And my wrench go. It's gonna be a 13mm wrench. Let's get that on the back side. And go ahead and tighten her down. Actually, it might be easier with a socket. It's kind of at a weird angle. This will work. And again, you don't want to over tighten it. You're just pulling the plate in. So that's the installation of Ricochet aluminum armor on the Pioneer 1000. Thanks for watching.